education. And for that, we are truly pleased. We are happy to welcome our parents, family members, spouses on board, persons who we consider to be important partners in the process of student learning and development. We know that you have worked hard. We know that your child or ward, has worked hard in getting to the UWI. We know of the contribution that you would have made over time to ensure that they are equipped and ready to navigate the higher education space. But we want to be able to assist you in this transition, to help our parents to better understand how to parent a university child. We want to be able to share with you critical information that will help you on this journey. And so we have come together. Though we are unable to meet in a physical space, we still wanted to provide you with an opportunity to share critical information with you that will empower you, that will prepare you for the weeks and months that lie ahead of us. And so today, we want to be able to share with you valuable information about academic matters, information surrounding wellness, information in relation to bursarial or financial matters. And importantly, we want to be able to hear from you. We want to be able to answer the questions that you may have. We understand clearly that these are uncertain times. These are really unprecedented times. But despite the challenges posed by COVID-19, we understand the importance of your child, your ward, benefiting from a higher education. And so the University of the West Indies, in particular the Mona campus, we continue to provide for our students a high quality education. I want to say to you, whether or not it's face-to-face, a blended format, or online education, it is the same quality education. What has changed is really the mode of delivery. And so I welcome you to this sitting this morning. I look forward to sharing with you as we go through this day. I look forward to hearing your questions, and I urge you to listen keenly to our various presenters and to share with us your questions and concerns so that we can assist you in preparing for the new semester that is ahead of us. Thank you once more for choosing the UWI. We look forward to partnering with you as your child or ward sojourn the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. Today, we are delighted to have with us our Deputy Principal, Professor Ian Boxill, and at this point in time, I invite him to bring greetings to you.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon in particular to those joining us, our colleagues on Zoom, and also those who are here on this panel. Most importantly, good afternoon to the parents and the wards of those who will be entering into the university come the next academic year. As you've heard from Jason McKenzie, who is the Director of the Office of Student Services and Development, we are in interesting times. We are in different times. We are here at a juncture where many things have changed. The one thing that we would like to guarantee all of you parents is that the University of the West Indies, your university, is ready to take on the challenge that anything that the pandemic or anything else has thrown to us. Let me say that I myself am a proud Pelican, that is, a graduate of this university, and I hope that you all, you parents, will also let your children know and your wards know that they too can become proud graduates of this institution. You all would have heard that the University of the West Indies is now ranked in the top 1% of universities across Latin America and the Caribbean. We are an institution that is located in 17 countries across the region. And we have locations also, we operate out of countries as far as Nigeria, South Africa, China, and of course the United States. The University of the West Indies is a regional university that has a global reach. We are an inclusive university that speaks to all who have an interest in joining us. The University of the West Indies, as I indicated, has recognized that we are in times which are unusual. Nevertheless, we continue to ensure that our graduates, certainly our students who enter, are part of this proud tradition that helps us to promote qualities such as hard work, discipline, tolerance, respect for others, diversity, inclusiveness, cleanliness, and honesty. We are a university that is structured across 5 different campuses, including an online or an open campus that includes countries from right across the region. Consistent with the requirements of the Ministry of Health, let me assure you parents and guardians that with the reopening, the University of the West Indies will do everything to ensure that your children or your ward will be safe as possible once they follow these guidelines. So the University of the West Indies will be reopening to a face-to-face student population, but it will also be offering classes online. Recognize that as we follow the protocols outlined by the government, some of these classes will not be what they used to be because we have to recognize physical distancing. Many of the classes will be much smaller. It means, therefore, that some of them will be online while others will be face-to-face. But as I said, whether or not the classes are online or face-to-face, whether or not these classes are offered to students who are following a remote mode, or online or face-to-face, these students will be given the best education possible from a university that carries our reputation. Every year, in speaking to parents, I like to point out that one of the reasons persons come to university is to think about ways in which we can use the knowledge that we've created to transform and change our societies. In so doing, as part of the process, the University of the West Indies presents to our many students a space to imagine and to dream. A university is a place to imagine. It's a place to dream. It's a place to think outside of the box. It's a place to grow. This is a space like no other, since, and I like to quote John Lennon here, we believe that it gives us time to escape this reality and construct something that is fresher, that is newer, that is more transformative. John Lennon once said, reality leaves a lot to imagination. And to quote Albert Einstein, he once said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world. And he goes on to say that all there will ever be to know and understand comes through imagination. Well-known author Frank Baum once said, imagination has given us the steam engine, the telephone, the talking machine, the automobile, for these things had to be dreamt of before they become realities. So, ladies and gentlemen, parents all, when we tell you that we want your child to come to somewhere which will open their imagination and allow them to dream, we're saying to them that we want persons to come and think about ways in which we can move our societies forward and to make realities which many have yet to imagine. So therefore, imagination is critical to our existence. But understand that imagination also has to be done within the context of real life. And we expect that students in coming to our institution will be able to balance not only their real situation, but also with their imagination, thus allowing for transformative change. In closing, let me assure you once again that once your child or ward comes to the institution, they would be asked to follow strict protocols and in so doing ensure that they operate in a safe environment. The University of the West Indies is your university. It is my university. It is everyone's university, and we welcome you all with open arms. Thank you all, and we wish you a successful year.
Thank you so kindly, Deputy Principal. And, he spoke about, the space at the university to imagine. In fact, our theme for parents' orientation is reimagining higher education safely, securely, successfully. We want to be able to partner with you in these unprecedented times to ensure that there's a smooth journey for your child and ward here. Our mantra here at the UWI is inspiring excellence and producing leaders. We have with us this morning the leader of the Student Guild. We believe here on campus in students' representation, in student advocacy, and just advancing the rights of our students. And so the president of the Guild of Students here on the Mona campus is here with us today, and I am inviting him now to bring greetings to us. Mr. Sujay Boswell is the president of the Guild of Students. Over to you, Sir Boswell.
Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. First, let me say good afternoon to my colleagues. I must congratulate our parents on this achievement, because this really and truly is an achievement of yours, as much as it is of your child or your ward. The university space is one that requires your support and the support of your families. And so what we want to ask of you as a guild is for you to stay with your children, to give them that guidance and that level to grow throughout their university tenure. This is a time of unprecedented change. It's a time of unprecedented action. And rest assured, the University Guild Council, the University of the West Indies Mona Guild Council, is here to serve our students' interest. In this time of unprecedented action, we look forward to working with you, our parents, to deliver strong and effective representation for all students at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, as well as the Western Jamaica campus. I want to welcome you to the Pelican family, and we hope that you will play an integral role in the affairs of all students at the campus. This, again, is a great achievement for not only you, but also for your children. And so, on behalf of the Mona Guild Council, I want to welcome you to the Pelican family. Thank you very much.
Thank you so kindly, Mr. President. So we'll continue with our programming, where we'll share some information with you over the next period. At the end of the presentations, we'll be fielding your questions. We are champions here on the campus for health and wellness. There's a space that is known as the University Health Center, from which a lot of this emanates. And we are delighted to have with us this afternoon our clinical director, Dr. Anglin Brown, who will share with us regarding wellness on the Mona campus, even in the time of COVID-19. Dr. Anglin Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me add my word of welcome to you as your children continue their education at the UWI, Mona, and Western Jamaica campuses. My task is to show you how we plan to keep them well, even in a pandemic. Just some context. The University Health Center is strategically placed in a space to provide easy access for the community on the campus. We see all students, full-time and part-time, all members of staff, dependents of staff, visiting students, visiting lecturers, and contract workers on the campus who may sustain injuries. The usual opening hours during the semester, Monday to Friday, is usually 8:30 to 7:30 p.m. and on Saturday, 8:30 to 12:30. There is a screening slot at 8:30 in the morning and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for patients who visit us without appointments. During the semester breaks, the opening hours are at 8:30 and we end at 4:30. These hours, however, will vary considerably during this period of the pandemic. Our aim really is to offer good primary health care services in the most cost-effective way to our community. We provide curative care and referral where indicated, preventive care. Students can get their immunization at the health center, promoting health education, providing of essential drugs. I'm going to show you we have a pharmacy dedicated to that, and dental care for all our students. These are our appointment modalities: telephone, walk-in, or on our website. Health insurance for the students is provided by the Sagicor Health Insurance Company, and I'm going to ask you, please, to familiarize yourself with all the benefits and the guidelines for the service. The medical services are provided by a clinical director and 3 full-time doctors, supported by sessional staff if and when it is needed. We assess, diagnose, and treat a wide range of both physical and mental illnesses. There are many other responsibilities that you should know about. We evaluate the medicals of our students coming on campus, evaluation and validation of sick leave granted by off-campus medical officers. If your child needs to see a doctor off campus, there are special forms which are filled out and they are sent to the University Health Center. Evaluation and recommendation of applications for leave of absence granted on medical grounds, and if your child happens to be off on a medical leave of absence, there is an evaluation of fitness to resume studies. Sometimes there are exemptions needed on medical grounds from exams, tutorials, or laboratories. We do that for them. And granting extensions on assignments on medical grounds. There is a dental clinic fully equipped with a dental surgeon and a team of dentists. The opening hours are there from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening during the semester. However, these hours will change or vary during the pandemic. We have our nursing staff very interested in general advice and counseling, family planning, usual wound dressings, urinalysis, etc. And we have a set station for the taking of blood daily for investigations. The public health department is there where we deal with immunizations, and we're particularly busy at this time and looking at immunization of special groups. Counseling and psychiatry, there are 4 full-time counselors and 1 consultant psychiatrist on staff, open for clinical consultations, and very strong on educational and outreach programs. There's a well-stocked pharmacy with 3 pharmacists, a billing clerk, and 3 pharmacy assistants. And patients may leave prescriptions for pickup at a later time. This feature is really appreciated by staff and students. All this is governed by a confidentiality policy which protects all our medical records. All our staff members sign on to that policy to prevent any disclosure of private information. Now, healthcare in the period of COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 has dramatically changed the health and safety of the world, and the university is no different. High-risk groups on the campus are residential students, athletes, medically vulnerable students and staff, our support staff, and the health center staff. To these groups, we pay particular attention. And what is the campus doing? We continue to institute primary public health controls to slow the transmission and so reduce the morbidity and mortality associated with COVID-19. Environmental measures enhance cleaning and disinfection of all our spaces. Physical distancing, very important, which all our students will be told about and asked to follow. We get viral testing support from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the University Hospital of the West Indies when indicated. Parents, we will have to enforce the wearing of face masks in buildings, enforcing frequent hand washing, hand sanitizing, and implementation of telemedicine to supplement access to our health care. Other key measures: rigorous health promotion, strengthening of the telemental health platforms. This has provided a path for mental health providers to continue providing services to our students during the pandemic. What happens if my child gets sick? The campus health personnel work closely, as I told you, with the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the University Hospital of the West Indies. We will refer to the University Hospital if further management is indicated. We plan to have isolation and quarantine facilities available on the campus. And open communication is vital. Please, I can't stress this enough, make sure that the campus has your correct telephone numbers and addresses so that we know to reach you if we need to. So in summary, the University Health Center working together to serve you safely, making sure that the community stays safe even during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, Dr. Anglin Brown. Parents, spouses, family members, we encourage you to just note your questions or share them in the YouTube chat or to the email address that we would have indicated to you, so we can take them at the end of the series of presentations. We will be continuing with personnel from the University Health Center in the form of Mrs. Sharon Williams Brown, who is a senior counselor there at the Health Center, particularly in the counseling unit. And she will be assisting us with easing the transitions. We want for parents to continue to partner with us, but we want to be able to help our parents and family members in understanding how to parent a university child. And so over to you, Mrs. Williams Brown.
Right. Good afternoon to all the family members who are on this meeting. And of course, I want to add my own word of welcome to all parents, guardians, and spouses as you embark on this journey of accompanying a UWI graduate in waiting. That may seem a little premature, but a wise person once said, begin with the end in mind. And the goal you and your student will need to keep clearly in mind is the achievement of that UWI degree. Although it is your student who will be doing the work at UWI, your support will be critical in helping them do their best. For those of you for whom this is your first child going to a tertiary institution, this marks a big step in your journey of parenthood. It is something you have planned for and looked forward to. However, even if this is child number 6 coming to university, a by now familiar event is still a marker of change. Any change, even good ones, can create challenges. Other changes create turbulence, particularly when the change is unexpected and impacts many facets of life. All of us are dealing with the turbulent changes created by the coronavirus. And though there is now some semblance of normalcy, we are still living with a lot of uncertainty. You and your student are the first ones in the history of UWI to start tertiary education while coping with a pandemic, as Dr. Anglin Brown was speaking about a while ago. So I want to talk with you about navigating the normal changes of starting UWI against a background of major unexpected change. Change, which means that as a parent, you're having to make decisions about things like whether or not your student lives at home and registers only for online courses, or your student comes to live on campus as originally planned to be able to access the face-to-face classes that will be offered. Having to make decisions like this with incomplete information and without the ability to predict the future accurately can be very stressful. So let us talk first about 2 ways to alleviate the stress of abnormal change, and then we will talk about dealing with normal developmental changes. How we think is critical in terms of handling stress. In the current uncertainties, we can help ourselves by understanding that anxiety due to the pandemic created by the coronavirus is a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. You are no doubt concerned or even very worried about how to make the right decision. For UWI, this includes the need to make decisions about your students' registration, about living arrangements, about how to pay the fees, and many other things. However, a more helpful way to look at decision making is do you make the best decision at this point, given the data that is available. This perspective reminds us that no decision is carved in stone forever. As things evolve and new data emerges, new decisions can be made or old decisions reaffirmed as the best path for now. A little word of caution though. Be sure that the data you are using for decision making is as accurate as possible. Social media and word of mouth spread misinformation in less time than it takes Usain or Shelley to run a 100-meter race. So encourage your student to rely on official UWI sources and not just on what their friends or their seniors say. Encourage them to seek out information when they need it, rather than hoping to hear through the grapevine. I love the quote. I'm a quote person like our deputy principal, and my quote says, "He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask a question is a fool for life." So encourage your student to be willing to be that fool for 5 minutes, but not for life. For those of you whose student will be living away from home for the first time, safety is normally high on the concern list. And as Dr. Anglin Brown said, you're adding the concern about health, something which we normally take for granted with our young adults. So for any concern, and here's my second major tip, communication is one of the keys for dealing with concerns. Often as parents, communication has meant telling a child what you expect of them. However, you're now dealing with a young adult, and so hopefully your communication style has been changing over time. Communication needs to be two-way, and listening more than you talk may need to become a new norm for some of you. One way to do this around health concerns caused by the pandemic is to discuss with your student how they will do their best to adhere to the safety protocols that we all know about and were reminded of. Ask them what their plan is to navigate the scenarios that worry you, and then, where needed, help them make adjustments to those plans. Now, let me give you 3 A's that can serve as tips to help you handle the normal changes that occur when a student starts UWI. First one, acknowledge that students will change. Students are at the developmental stage where they are taking more responsibility for self, but also questioning many things, including their values and lifestyle. Some of them will change their beliefs and behaviors. So, for example, dress and hairstyle may look very different by the end of semester 1. And I see a student nodding his head across there, one of those who's helping us with the taping. Type of company changes too for some people. Approach to studies changes. So a helpful response is to encourage them to think through things for themselves while offering the support of a place to talk through things. Be aware that this can be a tricky balance to maintain, however. Students themselves may want your advice sometimes and then reject it at other times. Be aware, too, that the level of demands placed on students at university is significantly higher than it was in secondary education. They're often very large classes and don't have the personal attention from teachers that they were used to in high school. Also, there are times when they must put in serious overtime hours, and that will include late nights or even all-nighters in the library, certainly under the old dispensation. Not quite sure how the library will work, but we'll hear about that. So encourage them to work at the transition if they become frustrated, and be prepared to support them in practical ways during crunch periods. My second A is awareness. Be aware of academic issues. First of all, please have realistic expectations. Not everyone is going to get A's or first-class honors. I'm told that although everyone wants first-class honors, less than 15% of each cohort get this. So if your student is getting B's, you know, they're doing what most people are doing. If they're getting C's, some encouragement to pull up. Some students sail through UWI, others struggle. Failing 1 or 2 courses or getting some borderline grades is not unusual in the first semester, as many students take some time to adjust to the less structured atmosphere at UWI and will pull up their grades thereafter. However, students who have failed more than 2 courses in the first semester or are having difficulty should seek help from an academic advisor or through the academic support unit. Be aware, too, that a student may choose a major which is not their area of strength and may need to change it later in their time at UWI. Parental input in choice of major can be useful, but children should not be expected to live out their parents' dreams. So focusing on my daughter the doctor or my son the lawyer can be experienced as stress and not motivation by your student. Also, important note, UWI regulations treat students as adults, so all information is sent to them. Gone are the days of parents getting reports. Doesn't happen at UWI. It's expected that the student will communicate relevant information to the parent by him or herself. And one tip, though, that may help you as a parent, so I'm letting you into a little secret. Not all students will be happy I say this, but students actually access their grades at the end of each semester by going on the UWI website. So you can just tap them on the shoulder and say, time to open up the UWI website, go to the section you need to, and let me see those grades. Don't forget that one. My third and final A is be alert. And so alertness to signs that a student is not coping, and then know how the student can access help. Allow for mistakes, but be alert to signs of being overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed. Both the university student and the parents should realize that mistakes will be made along the way. It's called life experience. And learning from mistakes is actually another, and sometimes, believe it or not, very helpful way of learning. However, look out for marked changes in behavior or mood that could indicate your student is not coping well. Bring up your concerns with your student, and if you are not able to give adequate help, remind them that help is available through the university. Specifically, where there are emotional concerns, encourage a student to use the services of the counseling service at the health center at UWI. It is a professional, confidential service covered by the student's health insurance. Encourage students to use this service if you're concerned about the changes you see, and if your student is not willing to open up to you about the problem, probably they may speak with us. Or if you're unsure about how to help them with issues, you can also direct them to us. If you wish, you may consult us as a parent through a phone call about any concerns you have. But please remember that we cannot divulge information about a student, even to you as a parent, without the student's written permission. Just a note, if you want to have the phone number for the counseling service, that direct line is 876-970-1992. And I close by hoping that something in what I've said has proved useful to you, and also with my very best wishes to you as parents, guardians, spouses, and to your student for this new chapter in all your lives.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sharon Williams-Brown, for a very timely and informative presentation. Just to remind our parents, guardians, spouses that we continue to be here for your child or ward, because our aim is to have your child or ward safely, securely, and successfully navigate the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. Our beloved institution continues to be a place for excellence in teaching and learning. We continue to be the premier tertiary level institution in this region. And we have this afternoon with us the Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, who will be sharing with us on academic matters. I ask that you pay key attention to the points made by Dr. Tomlin Paul, and after he's through, we'll hear from the library under the segment of academic matters. So I invite you to just pose your questions, in our YouTube chat room or on the email address that we would have shared with you. Over to you, Dr. Tomlin Paul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mackenzie. And let me also welcome all families this afternoon to the UWI family. We're very excited to have you here and to be sharing really some introductory guidance and remarks about the Mona campus and about our operations. So I'm speaking to you on behalf of all the deans of the Mona campus. I wear the cap as Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, but I come here with greetings from the Faculty of Social Sciences, or Faculty of Humanities and Education, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Sport, and also the Faculty of Science and Technology. And I know that many of you, or all of you, are in one of these, at least in one of these faculties. And I hope you're delighted and happy to be joining us in this sense. So, speaking as a representative of the deans of the faculty, I'm speaking a bit on academic matters, and I want to share with you in the time I have some insights into the academic program in general. You will have some details from your faculty. So I'll talk a little bit about structure, delivery, assessment, and I want to talk a little bit on the role of the family. And my colleague, Mrs. Williams-Brown, has very, very nicely already covered some of that in terms of your role. So I'll just give a final word from how the dean see it in relation to academic matters. So you have been accepted into a program at Mona, and congrats, let me say. That program may be a degree program or diploma program, and so you'll be working over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, depending. For some programs, it may be as many as 5 years. Some programs are long, yeah? It takes a longer time. But whichever program you're in, I want to welcome you and to assure you that you will complete. Once you set your goal and that target, that vision, as we heard from my colleague, that you will get there. It wasn't that long ago that I graduated from UWI, and my degree was in medicine. It was a 5-year program, and I remember when I entered back then, it seemed like, OMG, forever, when will I finish? But really, in the twinkling of an eye, we were done, and I was on to postgrad work and other things. So time moves. Now, all programs, for you to complete and get that degree, you have to fulfill some requirements. So we say academic requirements. And I break it down essentially into courses. If you look at your degree program or your diploma program, you have to do the building blocks to get the degree. And those building blocks are the courses. These courses are delivered over semesters. We have 2 semesters, and we also have a summer period where some programs have courses being delivered during the summer. Each course has coursework, has lectures, labs, tutorials, depending on the course, and you will have to complete those. You may have to do exams, midterms. So remember, midterms come pretty quickly. The middle always same. I know students who start in September. Before you know it, they said, oh my God, the midterms are here. And our campus has such a lovely warning signal for exams, or guidance signal. When the peach tree blooms on the campus, you know exams are coming, your final exams. And although we talk about remote and blended, I hope you get a chance to see those wonderful peach trees on the campus. So you have to complete courses to complete your programs, and you'll have examinations in there. In terms of assessment, your performance in your courses are graded, like anywhere else. You're familiar with that coming from your high schools or your prior institution. And so you will be assessed and graded, and you'll get a mark or a grade. You'll have in-course, as I said, or you have ongoing assessment. We're working as much as possible that we have a sense of how you're doing as you go along, and you get feedback. And then you may have a final exam that will pull everything together to get that grade. Now, those grades contribute to something called a GPA. So coming into UWI here, you would have, as you sojourn through the program, you will be given a GPA which will change as you engage in the courses. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the grade point average, or GPA, is a summary measure. It's a summary statistic of your performance. It pulls together the grades that you get in the individual courses for the program, and as you perform, as you get those grades, your GPA, that summary, is added up, and it may change from semester, it will change from semester to semester based on your performance. So it allows us, you, to track your overall performance throughout your degree program. It also helps the faculty to identify your needs. So depending on what your GPA is, as we do the review, you heard about academic advising, we can provide advice and guidance to help you improve that GPA, which in essence is improving your performance. It gives us a total look at how you're doing. And it rewards you also for maintaining a high average level of performance. So there is a reward, I would say, because you get to track, you get to see what you're doing as you go forward. Having said that, I want to encourage you to focus on your own GPA. Sometimes we get very competitive. I know people love to say, well, we come out, some of us are coming out of high schools. And even as parents, we sometimes look to say, well, what's your CXC scores, what's your CSEC scores, and your CAPE scores? And we say, we have a phenomenon where we say, how many ones did you get? Now, I'm speaking about competition, and within the campus, within our Mona campus, we want as much to see you perform as an individual. And I want to encourage you not to look too much at the right, left, behind you and saying, well, who is doing better than me, and am I doing better, etc. Do your best, give your best. So the issue of competition that GPA that you're getting is your personal GPA. Strive to improve it, give it your best shot, but don't get too much into the competitive aspect of performance. And I say that because it really is added stress. You would hear from our health center counselors that sometimes when you add that stress of performance, it can affect your well-being and your emotional well-being. So the class of degree that you get at the end will depend on your GPA. And faculties may have slight variations on this, but in general, the higher your GPA, the higher the class of honors. You heard Mrs. Williams-Brown, talking about the percent who get first class honors. But you'll see here, there's pass, lower second class honors, upper second class honors, first class honors. Some programs are structured a little differently, but the point here is that we use your cumulative GPA to guide the type of degree that you will leave the university with. And as I said earlier, it moves over time, so you can work on your GPA. If your year one was not as hot, you can push forward to improve and add to that tracking and improve that GPA over time. Academic advising, I have to talk about that because that is critical also to your performance. All of the faculties have an academic advising program. So you have academic advisors who will give you guidance on things like, very early, you're coming in within a month or two to the faculty. And very early, you need to be sure, which course should I be doing for this degree? Now, what you don't want is, at the end of year one, to say, OMG, oh my God, I didn't choose the right courses for my major. I'm in the wrong section for this or that. So very early, as you read the guidance, you read the booklets, if you have doubt and you'll get guidance, ask your academic advisor, am I in the right stream? Am I doing the right courses for this bachelor's in this particular area that I'm doing? So that's the role of academic advising, but also to help you improve your performance, to deal with issues, any challenges you have, you should be able to knock on the door of your academic advisor or send an email and get help in terms of improving your progress going forward. There's some other courses that you'll have to choose outside of your core degree courses. In terms of the academic programming, you will have what we call foundation courses. And these courses are designed to give you, to build a breadth, to build a, what I would say, a kind of roundedness around your program. So you may be doing a course in the humanities, but you'll be asked to do a foundation course, let's say, in science, medicine, technology. So you get a sense of the range of content and areas outside of your core area. So, and these are compulsory, and you'll have to make that selection also. You can get advice from your faculty on this. So we deliver courses, and the campus is a beautiful campus. I hope many of you would have already had a chance to visit. And traditionally, Mona is a landed campus. It's a face-to-face campus where we have delivered largely our programs. Students come in, we have lectures, tutorials, etc. We have had some online delivery over the years. But as you heard from our health director, the Director of Health Services, that with the COVID-19, we have moved a bit now into more blended delivery. And so I have a picture here of the campus, but I also want to introduce you to our virtual learning environment. Now, this has always been there. It's our OUR virtual learning environment, and you would see this particular, I call it a brand or an acronym. It will be bread and butter for you as you come into UWI. OURVLE. OURVLE. Now, that's a system run by our Mona Information Technology Services that represents the platform for online teaching and learning. It helps us to manage courses. All your courses will have a OURVLE container or a link. And you'll be able to go into that link, that container, look at content, engage in the activities, and so on. So all courses are set up online, even if you're doing it face-to-face. And that's the beauty of where we are at Mona. We have what I call a fully integrated academic learning system that gives you that opportunity to engage, even if you're doing it face-to-face, to also have that online delivery. OURVLE allows the course to be extended onto the web. It's a common learning space for you. Honestly. So basically, right now we are being, if you're here in the room live and you're looking at us, we've been talking, you're with us in real time, you're synchronous with us. But in the asynchronous learning, we allow the lecture to be taped, and you can go back and look at it. Midnight, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So sometimes parents, when you see your children online, they're not just Googling, they're actually on OER VLE learning at 2 in the morning. That's how it's set up. It can facilitate that. Collaboration during the learning process can take place, so there's a classroom feel, and you can post, our students can post news items, lecturers can post news, we can assign and collect assignments. Guess what? You can do your exams on OER VLE. We have been doing that. Again, that's not new to the Mona campus. We've been doing exams using that virtual learning platform. So I thought I had to mention this within our academic section here, because it is bread and butter of the engagement that you will have in the coming weeks, months, years with us here at UWI Mona. And here you see our campus principal, Professor Weber, fully masked, receiving some tablets from a benefactor here that will support our teaching and learning. We did get some good help during the COVID outbreak from UWI and other benefactors. Alumni had helped us. I put this here because I want to encourage all parents, supporters, families, to work with the incoming students to ensure that you have an appropriate appliance or appropriate computer, an appliance that can allow you to facilitate teaching and learning at this time. I think it's critical, given where we are, it's a reality check, that you should put aside in your budget some funds to ensure that you have a working, reliable appliance with all the specs and so on that could access our teaching and learning, because that's going to be, again, a critical part. The campus makes an effort to support, but understandably, we're not at a point where we can give every student coming in an appropriate appliance. So academic success, as I wind up, I want to say it takes a village. You know, I love the takes a village concept. They say it takes a village to do this and that and that. And I will say to you today, parents, families, students, that it takes a village for academic success. At the UWI Mona campus, we have a very large village with lots of members of that village. And you see my listing there. And I couldn't finish the slide. I put in the end, I say, and more. We have our principal's office with the deputy principal, who you heard from, being there, giving us guidance. The campus registrant team, and that will cover exams, SAS, student records, all the systems within that. Our Office of Student Services and Development, led by Mr. McKenzie. And it's critical as you think of academic success to think of development. It's the wholesomeness of your engagement, of your child's engagement, the person you're supporting today. It's not just to get those GPA grades. It's about becoming a full, wholesome, productive individual. The faculty, and that faculty is not just deans, but it's a range of persons involved, from the academic lecturers right down to the chap who may drive your student, your child, from one place to another to take part in activities. Office of Student Financing or library, critical to teaching and learning, University Health Center. And I'm very glad you heard the outline from our director on the role of the health center. Very, very intimately involved with academic work. A lot of students will have issues, or a number of students may have issues related to health matters, that may affect performance. We work closely with the health center in relation to ensuring academic success. Our bookshop, and as I said, there are many more agencies involved. So we have our virtual learning environment. And I want you to think, parents, guidance, all who are supporting our students today, about your family learning environment. Your FLE, we have OUR VLE, but in the village that promotes academic success is a critical dimension, the family learning environment. And everybody's quoting today, our DP quoted, and Mrs. Williams Brown quoted, Sharon quoted. My quote, I have just one quote that says, other things may change us, but we start and end with the family. And we could put in that other things, UWI. Huh? UWI Mona campus will change you. We want to play a role in changing you. We want to improve, expand, develop, grow, build your academic growth and your total development growth. And we may change you indeed, and I hope we do. But you start and end with the family. And in that sense, I want the family today to commit and to say, yes, we are here to ensure your success on academic matters. So my final slide really is coming now to the role, and I put just 2 or 3 thoughts I want to leave with you. As far as academic matters are concerned, I'm challenging the families today, parents, well-wishers, pastors, godfathers, godmothers, everybody who's here holding hands around this new entrant to the UWI, Mona. Help with priority setting and focus. There are some students who, even when they get in after a year within the first semester, ask, why am I here? What am I here for? I'm not too sure. Should I have done this course? Is this what I need to do? And also sometimes get a little bit lost in terms of the focus of the academic work. Coming on campus sometimes, if you're living on hall and coming away from home, someone may feel a bit liberated. And in that liberation may come a little bit of loss of focus. So I want to encourage the family to help encourage the focus as you start this journey. The second thing, help with balancing and timing. There is just so much to do. I will say to students who are listening, I bet you start in September, and by December the 1st, you will scratch your head and say, OMG, I can't believe exams have come already. Huh? And there's so much I should have read, there's so much I should have studied, etc. So parents, family, help with balancing and timing, keeping schedules, whatever techniques are used to keep that focus again, to get the job done. And lastly, be available, show interest and support. Our students need our help as academics, as a UWI, but they need your help. They need your understanding. They need your prayers and guidance. Be available, show interest and support. I see many students as dean who sometimes I say, well, have you spoken with your mommy, daddy? Parents say, well, not yet. Some are afraid to. The relationship may not have been strong in terms of communicating some things, but they value the fact when they can talk to you and get that support and guidance, and just to know that you're there. I believe firmly that confidence and having that feeling, I'm going to do it, and somebody's with me, it's behind me, will help our students to succeed and do well. So welcome to the university. I've given you some insights, really it's preliminary insights, because as you meet, as the students get into the faculties, they will get details, they will get much more than I'm saying here. But this is the overall umbrella structure of the academic program and some encouragement on the role of the family. So welcome to the #1 university in the Caribbean. We look forward to the graduation, and parents, family, we look forward to you being here with us. God willing, in the years to come, we'll be back, that we can have a physical celebration of your academic success of the student who's entering today. Thank you for your listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dean Paul, for that very comprehensive presentation. We continue to look at academic matters. I recall, ladies and gentlemen, as a youngster going to my branch library to spend hours, reading books. There are students here at the UWI who like being in the physical space, and they spend time in the library, conducting research and just finding material to help with their academic work. Many persons may ask, how do we function if we are doing learning remotely? How do I access the resources at the library if I am not going to be physically on the campus? We have with us this afternoon Mrs. Pauline Nicholas, who is the head librarian for public services here at the Mona campus, and she will share critical information regarding the library and you. Please make welcome Mrs. Nicholas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Parents and family members, greetings from the Mona Library family and the campus librarian, Dr. Paulette Carr, who is unavoidably absent. Now, you are here on this platform because you have your child's interest at heart. His or her academic success is what you have interest in. The Mona Library is an active player in your students' success. The library, of course, prides itself in providing access to information, resources, and services in support of teaching, learning, and research anytime and from anywhere. The Mona Library system consists of the main library, the law, medical, science, and engineering, and the Western Jamaica campus branch libraries. Of course, the time allotted is not enough for me to adequately describe to you the comfortable physical space for individual as well as collaborative work, the learner-centered environment for exploration and discovery, and the digital resources and services. A pre-COVID audit indicated that the library had more than 400 public computers, printers, and a seating capacity for more than 1,100 students at any one point in time. Now, of course, this will be reduced due to COVID and the guidelines that are there by the government. Now, since the pandemic, approximately 500 tablets have been added to our collections of ICT devices so that students with internet or access challenges can, of course, reach the library. Your child will also benefit from a full range of print and electronic resources. There are books, academic journals and databases, research papers and dissertations, and a unique collection of West Indian resources. Now, because we want your child or ward to have meaningful learning experiences, the university invested more than 50 million Jamaican dollars as subscription to electronic journals and databases last academic year. If by chance your child needs an item that is not at any of these 5 locations mentioned earlier, the library, through our interlibrary loan service, will be able to source this item from across the globe and let you have it. Now let me squeeze in a little about the library's online reference service. This allows your child or ward to chat with a staff in real time. So from Monday to Friday, between the hours of 9 to 7 p.m., you may go to the library's website, click on the online chat icon, and a librarian or another member of staff will be there to chat with you. Now, should a librarian or member of staff not be online, the query can be sent, and when received, of course, we guarantee you that within 24 hours, you will have a response. As you step back from being that main support system while your child is on campus, we as librarians work in placing your child at the cutting edge of research and discovery. Librarians also offer instructions. These are instructions on how to navigate the collections and access and use online resources and even print resources. We also partner with academic departments in providing your child information tailored and packaged for the specific discipline. The library recognizes the integral role of the halls of residence in ensuring retention from the first year of a student's life on campus. As such, a librarian is assigned to each hall of residence, and so your child is privileged. Your child can text, your child can call, email, or visit the library to speak with his or her librarian. Research has shown that students who use the library in the first semester of their entry to a university are among the high achievers. Therefore, we're pleading with you to encourage your child to make use of these resources and services. Using the library makes a difference between the A and the C grade. In closing, I encourage you, please take some time to visit our website for additional information. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just pop into the library, be it online or physical, and explore the possibilities. You will be glad you did that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Nicholas. We continue with our presentations. Just a reminder to parents, spouses, family members that at the end of our presentations, and we're drawing to a close, we will answer the questions, the many questions that you've been posting in our chat room and by emailing to that particular email address. So we'll be able to answer your questions about the library if you have questions regarding the library, because our librarian will remain with us here as too will our other presenters. We understand your concerns that at this point in time, there are a lot of uncertainties regarding financing your higher education. We want to be able to share some information with you about financial matters, costs, timelines, you name it. And we're delighted to have with us Ms. Deandra Robinson, who is a customer service officer in the bursary, specifically the section that addresses student administrative services. And so she'll share some information with us, and shortly thereafter we'll go into the question and answer segment. So please make welcome Ms. Robinson regarding financing expectations.
Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to extend welcome, firstly, to the colleagues on this panel, the ones that are on Zoom, and also persons who are tuned in via YouTube. My name is Deandra Robinson. I am from the Billings and Receivables SAS section of the bursary, and as Mr. Mackenzie indicated earlier, we handle student-related financial matters. Now, what do? We bill students. We ensure that the charges that are on the student account are correct. We ensure that when you guys make your payments at the various external payment agencies, those are loaded to your accounts on time and correctly. And we also bill and collect from external stakeholders, for example, the scholarship donors or anybody who wishes to sponsor a student. Now, what are the charges that are placed on student accounts? So the three main charges are tuition. Tuition is based on the program that you're enrolled in and your registration. There is miscellaneous, which covers the services that are offered by the university. And then there is residence, and that is dependent on the hall which you decide to live on. All right, so the commitment fee. I'm sure everybody would have heard about the commitment fee at the point when they would have accepted their offer. It is basically a deposit of $20,000 to hold your space at the university. It is required for you to do your registration, and it is non-refundable. Non-refundable in the case where, let's say, for example, you accept your offer, you pay your commitment fee, and for some reason you decide that you no longer want to pursue that program. In that case, it wouldn't be refundable. However, let us say that you are enrolled in a program and the program gets cancelled for some reason. In that case, we would refund the commitment fee to you. There is normally a confusion with the commitment fee because of the word fee, but it is really a payment to your account. So let us say for the year, your total fees would have been $120,000. Upon paying this commitment fee of $20,000, all that you have left to pay is $100,000. It's just a down payment to your account, and it goes towards all the charges that are there. Any charge that is there, basically. All right, so how do you find the fees? Simply open a search engine, whether it is Google or Internet Explorer or Firefox. Type in check fees UWI Mona, and it is normally the first link that comes up. Now, when you click on that link, it will display all the associated fees for whether it is for the program, whether it's for hall fees, whether it's for miscellaneous. Also, you get the option of paying online there as well. Now, general information on fees and the information that I'm giving you now would have been based on 2019-2020 because the fees for 2020-2021, those have not been finalized and posted online as yet. So I'm just speaking based on 1920. Now, for a general program, let us say BSc in Accounts or BSc General in Science and Technology, as a full-time student, you would pay $286,897 full-time. If you're part-time, what will happen is that you'll be charged on a per-credit basis, meaning each course has a number of credits, and let us say for a given semester you register for 9 credits in total. What you'll then be required to do is to multiply the per-credit rates by the number of total amount of credits that you're doing for the semester, and that will give you the total charge. So that's for part-time students. There are 2 separate miscellaneous fees. There's one for students who are commuting. 1920, that was $16,110. And for students who would have been residing on hall, it would have been $24,410. There also online you would have been able to view the hall fees. This slide basically just gives you a rundown of what those fees were for the academic year 1920. So you can basically find all the information that you need regarding fees online because it is placed there for convenience for you. All right, so introducing our system, the Bursary Online Student System. We developed the system to basically offer the services from the bursary to you. You can simply, again, go to Google, Internet Explorer, Firefox, type in UWI Bus, and it is usually the first link that comes up. How you access it is you use your student ID number as your username and your date of birth as your password. Now, the services offered on BUS are you are able to view your statement of accounts conveniently anytime online. There's what we call an installment plan. I'll get into that in a slide later on. There's resident installment plan as well. There is housing allocation, and this basically allows you to transfer money from tuition to housing. Tuition allocation is the reverse, where you transfer from housing to tuition. There is the tuition letter request form, which allows you to apply for a financial letter stating what your fees are for the academic year. This is used in cases where sponsors are asking for information directly from the university, which is stamped and signed. So it's an official document stating your fees for the academic year. There is the refund request form, which is used in cases where you overpay and you need that money back in hand. And you can also apply for a statement of accounts, which will show you a synopsis of what your account is. And then there is the proxy authorization. Now, to reiterate what my colleague Mrs. Williams-Brown said earlier, students are treated as adults. So if it is that anybody other than the student requires information on their financial account, you want us to give you advice based on what is happening on the account, any information at all, that person must be authorized by the student to get the information. How do you do that? You log into the Bursary online student system. So that's the student. The student would log into the Bursary online student system and submit a proxy authorization request with that person's information. Now, I know you guys are the parents and you pay the fees, but we have an obligation to the student, a confidentiality agreement to keep the student's financial information private. So the student must authorize you to get the information on their account or to conduct business on their behalf. Once it is that the proxy authorization request is submitted in BOSS, we'll be able to assist you in any way we can. All right, so payment deadlines. Again, the information that I'm presenting is based on the academic year 1920. Nothing has been finalized for 2021 as yet. So for semester 1, last year it was August 28th, 2019, and semester 2, it was January 17th, 2020. What you can do, fees are normally due before the semester begins. So for example, if school starts or teaching starts, if the semester begins on August 25th, then it means that fees are due August 24th. So just have that in the back of your mind. All right, so there are 3 ways of making payments for your fees. So you can do that. You can pay everything, meaning semester 1, semester 2, at the beginning of the academic year by the semester 1 deadline. So you pay off everything and you're done. Then, or you can pay on a semester basis where you pay all of semester 1 by the semester 1 deadline, or, all of semester 2 by the semester 2 deadline. And if that is still not feasible to you, what we offer is a tuition installment plan. What the installment plan does is basically allows you to pay the semester's fee on a monthly basis. So the requirements to get a tuition installment plan would be to be fully registered for your courses, meaning you go on SAS, the online system, to register, you add all your courses. At the point of registering, that's when the charges will be placed on your account. So that's the tuition charge, the miscellaneous charge. Now, once you have done those 2 things, you then pay 25% of the tuition that is charged and the miscellaneous fee in full, and you make your way to the BOSS system, which I introduced to you earlier, to submit your request for the installment plan. So basically what the installment plan does is to divide your tuition fees in 4. You pay the first 25% to qualify, and the other 3 25% will be paid over 3 months. So by November, usually by November, your tuition fees would be paid off in full. Now guys, it is very important to bear this in mind, because as I said, there are 3 ways to make payments to the university. If you're not going to do it in full by the semester 1 deadline, then the only other option is the tuition installment plan. All right? There's also an installment plan for residents as well. It's basically the same requirements that you would need to do. Ensure that your hall charges are on your account. You pay 25% of the residence fee, and then you make your way to BOSS to submit your application for a residence installment plan. Once it is that you meet the requirements, there is no way you can be denied. We accept anyone once it is that you have met the requirements stipulated. All right? So the payment outlets, we have a cashier here on campus. You can make payments at the UWI Edicom on campus as well. Island-wide, you can go to NCB, JN, Western Union, Paymaster, or Bill Express, so you don't have to find one that is in Kingston. Wherever you are, you can use one of those outlets there. We also have online payments as well, and you can also do a wire transfer. All right, it is important that you pay only to the payment outlets indicated just now, because nobody else is authorized to collect money on behalf of the university. We have had cases of fraud, so it is very imperative that you follow or you pay your fees at these locations stipulated. All right? All right, so penalties by the University of the West Indies. Again, I'm going to speak on the fact that if it is that you can't pay your fees on the deadline given for each semester, you have to do the installment plan. Now, if it is that you are not paying or you have fees outstanding to the university, what will happen is that a late fine will be charged to your account at the end of each month until that balance is cleared. What will also happen is that you might be unable to sit your exams. You won't have access to your records, and if it is that these fees are outstanding for a prolonged period of time, your information will be sent to a collection agency who is authorized to collect on behalf of the university, and also it will be sent to a credit bureau, and we know that affects you guys taking out loans and so on and so forth. So if it is that you guys are not able to pay by the deadlines, please speak to SAS, a representative from SAS. We will advise you as best as we can. We'll give you the best way forward in order to avoid these penalties that are stipulated by the university. And this is the last slide, last information that I will give for today. Our offices are opened Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can contact us via telephone at 970-673-49 or 970-6756. We also have an email address, and we try to respond within 24 working hours. The email address is customer.services@uwimona.edu.jm, and the most convenient mode of communication for us is WhatsApp. The number for that is 280-8238. Once again, I close today by saying welcome to the University of the West Indies. Please note that SAS and Billings is here with you, and more importantly, we are here for you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Robinson. And thank you, parents, spouses, guardians, for being an excellent audience. We are going to move into our question and answer segment. We have a team of persons right here with us. All our presenters remain with us. But in addition to our presenters, we have key personnel from the university across faculties, administration, who are online with us and will be able to answer your questions as well. So we are happy to have on board our Director of Security, ACP Haywood, who will respond to questions in relation to security that you may have. So though we were unable to give you presentation in some areas, we have key persons from our institution who will answer the questions that you may have. We have our Director of the Western Jamaica Campus, Dr. Patrick Prendergrass, who is with us as well. We have a team of Student Services and Development Managers, the persons who have responsibility for the various halls of residence, and they will be able to take your specific questions as well. We have the SSDM for the for placement and career services that will be able to answer questions around that, as also a program manager for the academic support unit. key members of faculties. I see Mr. Stan Moore from the Faculty of Social Sciences and others who will be able to just respond to your questions. So we are going to field your questions now, and we ask that if by chance we are unable to answer your questions, you still have the avenue of the email address to which you can send your questions, and rest assured we will be responding to same. So the email address again is firstyear.student@uwimona.edu.jm.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So we have a number of questions coming in our chat section, and we're going to get to them, or as many of them, in this segment. Our first question, and we saw this a lot, when will the period of registration become open to students? So I think Dr. Tomlin Paul could take that question. It's an academic matter. I don't know if you'll be able to shed some light.
I think that, well, it may vary a bit from faculty to faculty, but certainly we start classes on the 7th of September. We have an orientation prior to that. And I don't have an exact date. Maybe, I'm not sure if Deputy Principal, DP, would you?
Right, so Mr. Archer will speak to that in a short while. We start on the 3rd of August. It's sort of everything by 1st of August. And the period of registration is August 30 through to September 4. That's a week of faculty orientation and registration.
Okay, thank you very much. There is another question for Mrs. Nicholas. What is the process that we should go through for receiving a tablet from the university?
Okay, initially the tablets were for the second semester, and so for that students would have stated their needs to the faculty and to the halls of residence and the guild. Now, because it's now a part of our collection, students, and yes, because of the pandemic situation, we still do not allow students to be in the library. We are still working out the ramifications regarding what will happen in September. But presently, if students need a tablet, they would have to submit a request through the reference.library@uwimona, that email address. It's there on the website. So they submit the request along with a confirmation that says they are registered in the summer program for now. September, we'll have to work out what will happen in September. So all of that we are working through. There are discussions. We know that September will start. Students will be coming in. There'll be some amount of face-to-face interaction because things are being put in place. So it's possible that they will be able to borrow just in the normal way where they visit the library, present their ID, and they have the item delivered. But for now, the request will come through an email and a confirmation that they are part of the system and they are doing courses. And that would have been for students who are already in the system. For the new students, they will be able to come in or submit a request via email, especially for those who are online.
All right, thanks, Mrs. Nicholas. Can you repeat the email for our audience?
reference.library@uwimona.edu.jm.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, this question appeared quite a bit. When will we know which classes or which courses will be delivered online and which ones will be done face-to-face? can first-year students have all their courses done online?
Okay, I think as the librarian just indicated that we are still in the summer period and we are transitioning into the first semester. So the question is, can you have all of your courses online? So what is happening is that the university is going back face-to-face. That's our plan. But given the fact that we have to abide by certain protocols, we are unable to accommodate all of our students. So some of these students will have to go online. We cannot say at this time how many courses will be offered online or how many will be offered face-to-face. This information will be available in time for the students to register. But we know that there might be, if there are students who conceivably are part-time, they may very well have 3 of their courses online, but we can't say for sure. What we want to make persons know is that the University of the West Indies is open for business, and our business is largely face-to-face, but we will also have online and remote teaching in instances where we are unable to accommodate face-to-face instruction.
All right, thanks so much, Prof. All right, let's jump over to questions regarding accommodation very quickly. There is a question about when students will be able to start moving into dorm. Well, this question has 2 parts. One, they want to know when students will be aware whether they've been accepted into the halls of residence, and 2, when will they be allowed to move into the spaces?
Right, so thanks for that question. The process has started, and so during the course of this week, persons will receive notification, will start receiving notification as to their acceptance in residence. The move-in date is at the start of semester, and that's August 30. August 30 is a date to bear in mind for moving into residence.
All right. Based on that date, Mr. Mack, there are questions from our regional students. They also want to know, upon entry on campus, will they have to observe a quarantine period?
The response to that is yes. There's a 14-day quarantine period, and so our regional international students will be asked to self-quarantine and will be monitored as such. Let me say to our regional international students as well, we have had 2 webinars so far, and we will be having 2 others. On the 29th of July is the next webinar. There's also a webinar on July 7th. At this webinar, we address key information relating to regional and international students. We also record the webinar, and it will be available to you on the ISO website. So regional and international students, we will continue to reach out to you to attend to your specific and particular needs. Please bear the dates of July 29 and August 7 in mind, where we will have webinars addressing matters relating to our regional and international students.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McKenzie. One more quick question for you regarding international and regional students. There are parents who want to know if they will be able to access the campus and the halls of residence if they do travel with students to Jamaica.
Very important question. So, whereas they may be able to, they are allowed to travel with their students, unfortunately, in an effort to maintain a safe and secure community for all stakeholders, we will not be allowing parents to access the halls of residence. So you're able to drop off your child, but access to the space will be only for residents. It's of utmost importance that we do everything in our powers to maintain a safe space for members of this community. So unfortunately, we will not be able to allow our parents to access their child or ward in a residence hall.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mack. I am going to jump over to Dr. Angling-Brown. There's a question here. Can I get my school medical done at the University Health Center? And there's another question regarding immunization. If I'm not able to locate my immunization card, can I get my immunization done at the health center?
We have tried to encourage all students to have their medicals done prior to coming to the University of the West Indies. But if you can't, we will. And you can get your immunizations updated at the health center. They need to make contact with the health center as soon as they arrive, and we will give the instructions as to how you get that done.
All right, thank you. All right, there's a question here regarding tuition fee and boarding fees. What happens to a child's tuition fee or boarding fee if for any reason that student gets infected with the virus on campus? Anyone wants to take that? So, Mr. McKenzie or Prof. Boxill?
Well, so far, thankfully, we haven't had any such incident. But depending on where, for example, if the student has to withdraw from the university, then that will be taken into consideration. But it's usually a very slow, a very short recovery time. So presumably, if this person recovers within a few weeks, then that person should be able to continue his or her studies. So I think each case will have to be handled individually, but suffice it to say that so far we haven't had any difficulty with this one as yet.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Boxill. A question here for our representative from the bursary. This person wants to know, what is the next step after the commitment fee is paid, and can the accommodation fee be paid in installments as well?
All right, so after the commitment fee is paid, each student is expected to do their registration, and as I indicated, the commitment fee can be used to offset any one of those fees, whether it is tuition or miscellaneous. And yes, there is a resident installment plan as well. Once it is that your hall charges are placed on your account, you would be required to pay 25% off the semester's charge, and then you make the application online via BOSS. Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. There's a question here regarding how soon will we be able to know if I think we answered this. How soon will we be able to know if the courses this semester will be online or face-to-face? Yes, we responded to that. I think Prof had said in time for registration is what Prof said. Okay, good. A question here again for our health center representative. How does the health insurance work? Is there a cost to students, and what is this cost?
There's a new provider for the students, Sagicor, and there is quite a document which I think perhaps we should post on the website for the details of what is offered to our students.
You said there's a website, Dr. Angling?
No, I'm saying I think we will post that on the website.
Okay, okay. All right. What is the process to transfer to another faculty? I've been accepted in one faculty and would like to transfer into another. What is that process? And I'm going to ask Mr. Mackenzie to take that question? You look poised to take that question. I was going to ask Dr. Paul.
No, I'm just sharing that Jonathan Archie is also online and is available to address the matter. So, Mr. Archie.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Just confirming that you can hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, great. So in regards to a student wanting to transfer from one program to another, if it's a second-year student, the student would have to go online and access our automated student request management system where they would indicate which program it is that they would want to transfer to. The request will then enter our internal processes, and we will then inform the student of the decision of the request.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Archie. Mr. Mackenzie, there is a question here about our special needs students. Is there any program in place for our students with special needs, for example, any financial plan? I think this person is referring to scholarships. So I think they just want to know a little bit about our special needs offering.
Right, thanks for the question. So we have a facility that is in place for our students with special needs. So we encourage parents, family members, just to have your student indicate to us. We do not discriminate. We run a very diverse institution, and so we welcome students who have special needs. But importantly, we want to be able to know to adequately cater to our students with special needs. So we have a facility, a building, a team of persons, an entire system and structure to attend to these students. Specifically as it relates to financial support, we have the Office of Student Financing that offers support through scholarships and bursaries and grants to all our students. And therefore, our students with special needs can access this facility and would be able to benefit from the range of scholarship, bursaries, and grants that are available to them.
All right, thank you so much, Mr.
Can I also say that apart from the Office of Student Financing, I think Jason referred to the Center for Disability Studies, and once students make contact with that center, they're also exposed to other possibilities. So my recommendation would be for the parents to make contact once this child has been accepted into the university, to make contact with the Center for Disability Studies and find out what other options are available for him or her.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Boxill. Dr. Paul, there is a question here. The person wants to know about the time frame within which they will get information regarding acceptances into the medical faculty in particular.
Thanks very much. We've had admissions committee meeting already, and we have sent out notices to those students who were considered at that meeting. We are meeting again within the first week of August. There are a number of students who will now be in the list for consideration based on the results from the science and technology program. So remember, our exams would have just been completed, and the faculties have tied up their grades and have their examiners meeting. So we now have a number of persons who will be considered at the August meeting, first week of August. So they will hear after that meeting where they stand. But we have already sent out some students who might be here this morning already or this afternoon would have heard. And we have another admissions committee meeting in a week's time.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Paul. Ms. Robinson, or bursary rep, students want to know if they would have, or parents, if they would have gone ahead and paid for dorm fees, and they would have paid, for example, for their first semester, it turns out that they're doing classes online completely. What is the procedure that they follow, or do they get some refunds? What happens in their situation?
And this is in relation to the dorm fees, right?
Yes.
All right, so as I said earlier regarding the refund, so firstly, when you get accepted into one hall, I don't believe the charges are placed on the student account until the student goes on hall. So if there's no charge there for the funds to go towards and you don't have any fees outstanding, what you can then do is make your way to the bus system and apply for your refund, providing that an excess amount is there in payment and there's nothing outstanding.
Okay. Can you just go again for me, please, just to clarify?
So, if there's no charge there for hall fees, there's no charge placed on the student's account, then the money wouldn't be going towards anything, right?
Okay.
That they would have paid. So I'm saying, once it is that all the fees for the year have been covered and they have an excess on their account, they can make a refund request on the Bursary Online Student System bus.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. There is a question here. Because our neighbors in Trinidad and Tobago their borders are still closed, I believe there was an announcement by their Prime Minister that borders would not be open before a particular time after the opening of school. What does a student from Trinidad do to secure residence in that case?
So the institution would be familiar or aware of the particular circumstance being faced by students who live in Trinidad and Tobago and who would want to be physically located on the campus. If it is that their borders are closed until September, as has been indicated, we would want for the particular student, once an offer has been made for accommodation in a particular hall, that the student makes direct contact with the student services and development manager to indicate their date of arrival. That's important. Once that is done and the appropriate fees are paid, then they will be received into residence when they are able to arrive here. But it's important that the student makes direct contact with the SSDM and to communicate clearly a date of arrival. And the details will be worked out at that local level between the student and the SSDM.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. A question here. In light of what's happening with COVID-19 and the increase of cases in Jamaica, how will students get to participate in extracurricular activities and get to still socialize and experience that part of the university in light of that?
So the fact of the matter is that these are not normal times. And therefore, we have to understand that there will be changes that we'll have to make. So whereas we understand clearly the importance of the out-of-classroom learning experience of our students, and we will continue to offer opportunities for students to learn outside of the classroom or beyond the classroom even, we will have to ensure that this is done in a very safe manner. And so we will be offering a lot of programs virtually. So our clubs and societies and so on have already taken steps to move a lot of their operations in the virtual space. The Office of Student Services and Development have moved a lot of our programs to a virtual space, what we have dubbed Student Engagement 2.0, the virtual hub. We will, as best as possible, offer things, in a physical sense, where we are able to observe clearly the physical distancing guidelines of the government of Jamaica. So, if it's about socializing, students have to be prepared to put aside some of the socializing because these aren't normal times. Or responsibilities to ensure the safety of members of this community. And whatever it is that we have to do, wherever we have to cut back on a number of the things that we would ordinarily do, then we'll do that in an effort to ensure that we observe the guidelines of the government, and that we keep the community safe.
Well, okay, yeah.
All right, we'll ask our guild president to add to that.
Well, the Guild Council has been reviewing the way forward. We have had conversations with our student leaders to see what best way they can move. In terms of the clubs and societies, as Mr. Mackenzie have said, those are in retreat now, and they're having the conversations as to how the programs would move online. I wanted to add earlier about from the bursary perspective, that the Guild Council offers grants to students through our Office of the Vice President, Student Services for Special Projects. We want our students to know that we're here to support them right throughout their tenure. And so as best as possible, we'll be there to ensure that they're safe, advocating for their safety, as well as working with them for their development.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. President. There are a number of questions here, a number of persons asking about the provisional acceptance given to law students. When will they know that they have been fully accepted? Because they would like to know this ahead of the registration period and the deadline for the payment of fees. Can our Jonathan, Mr. Archie, are you able to take that question for us?
The question is in regards to an applicant who has been given provisional clearance?
Right, so there has been professional acceptance given to someone who would have applied to the Faculty of Law, and they would like to know when it is that they will know that they've been accepted, fully accepted, so that they are able to register and pay tuition in time.
Right. From my understanding, the provisional offer should allow that applicant to be able to register as normal. What I would recommend, if there is any prospective student who has received a provisional offer, who is having a challenge actually registering, so they should get in contact with our admission section or Office of the Campus Registrar for us to address the issue.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Archie. Can you also shed some light very quickly on the process that a student should go through to transfer from part-time to full-time in this period?
Okay, that's fine. It is actually the same process as changing a major. So again, our automated student request management system, the student will go on and indicate what change they would like to make to their status. And we will, once the request is submitted, we will receive it. Our faculty, our academic team will review, and they will make a decision, and we will communicate to the student.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. All right, so there are questions here about the hall fees and the tuition fees for this academic year. Will there be an increase, a decrease, or will it remain the same?
So in relation to hall fees, there is no increase in hall fees. So the 1920 fees are applicable for 2021. There are no increases in hall fees. So,
right,
just to indicate as well that there are no increases for tuition fees. Mm-hmm. Right, there may be adjustments in some owing to the adjustment in the exchange rate. Mm-hmm. Right, so fees that are quoted in US dollars, you know what the dollar was in 2019 isn't what it is in terms of the exchange rate. And so you will see some adjustments around that for fees that are quoted in US dollars.
All right, thank you. For persons for whom classes will be offered predominantly online, are they still required to pay the miscellaneous fees in full, since they likely won't be using the services that the miscellaneous fee covers? Ms. Robinson, I'll ask you to take that one.
All right, so there are some online programs that require you paying a miscellaneous fee, and there are others that don't. So it is dependent on the program that the student is enrolled in. So I can't give you a straight answer at this point.
So just to expand on the response to the question, that the students are expected to, whether or not they are accessing the services online or face-to-face, to pay their miscellaneous fees. So take, for example, someone asked a question earlier about the health card. Your health card affords you the opportunity to use the health center. The new arrangement that we have in place will afford students to access health services elsewhere outside of the health center. So therefore, if you are in Trelawney and you're accessing our classes in Trelawney and you need to access some health services in Trelawney, you're able to do so based on the arrangement with the new health card. And therefore, you would be expected to pay your miscellaneous fees in full to be able to access all the services that it affords you.
Mr. Mackenzie, just if I could add to that, our miscellaneous fees aren't necessarily tied to facility fees. So our miscellaneous fees include our guild fees, our library fees, our sports initiative fee, and our students will still be accessing those services just the same. So there wouldn't necessarily be an adjustment in miscellaneous fees or an expectation that there wouldn't be a need to pay miscellaneous fees.
All right, so I am going to take this question because I'm seeing it quite a bit, and it is a question referring to registration for law, and what the process is for registering for law, and when that process will begin. I will go on to say, though, Mr. Mackenzie, that students who are asking questions particular to their course and registration, can they get that information at the faculty orientations? Right, so
Absolutely. We will have general orientation for all new undergraduate students on the 28th of August. We will continue with faculty orientation running from August 31 through to September 4. And at these sessions, you will get faculty-specific information. In the interim, you may access through admissions, in the admissions office, some of the questions that you may have, and others relating specifically to faculty. You may access that information through the faculty office of the particular faculty. But importantly, the orientation period for new students, we'll have for new undergraduate students on the 28th. We'll have one that's specific to regional international students on August 27. On September 3, we'll have an orientation specific to new graduate students, and then we lead into faculty-specific orientation. So we ask for our students, because this orientation is particular for parents and family members, but we'll have orientations, a series of orientations for our students to help them to prepare for the new academic year.
Thank you so much. For students who are waiting on their CAPE 2 results, I know you had mentioned something about this, Dr. Paul. The students who are waiting for CAPE 2 results, what is the process for them, particularly as they want to make applications for the medical faculty? Is a question out here.
With respect to CAPE 2, students who have applied and who are waiting on results, we have not given provisional acceptances. So the timing is really very difficult, quite honestly, because CAPE 2 results are scheduled to come, I gather, after we start. So we really have to, oftentimes, let me say too, in the pre-COVID period, the CAPE results would be out, let's say, close to mid to end of August. And many of our CAPE 2 applicants at that time are not able to get in within that particular year. So each year we have already accepted this year students who had CAPE 2 results, the last year's cohort, so to speak. So we have students who have been given acceptances who are waiting because they couldn't get in because of the lateness of the results. And the same will happen again this year. We will have students who will have to transition into the faculty over that, waiting a year and get in the year to come because of the lateness of the results. So there's very little we can do about that. We have given the timing when we start on the campus and when CAPE results. We'll wait and see exactly when the results will be out. I don't have an exact date for CAPE 2 results coming out, but overall we have not given provisional acceptance, so we're basically waiting on those results. In the meantime, we have accepted students who had completed their CAPE program from last year.
Is there any advice that you can give to students who are waiting on their CAPE 2 results? What might you suggest that they do? There's no specific advice. I mean, I think we all have to wait and see when those results are out, and certainly, we do our best to accommodate, if it's possible, to accommodate those students in time. The acceptance estimates are very competitive each year. I think just to say a little bit, we have, for the students who are coming in from Jamaica, we have a cohort who get a government-sponsored place, and we have a cohort who are accepted on what we call the full fee paying program. The government-sponsored place is oftentimes filled by the time CAPE results come out. And this was pre-COVID. Whether COVID or not, the government-sponsored places are filled up long before CAPE results come out. So there's always, I know, anxiety, concern to get those places. And I would say to students who are waiting this year for those waiting on CAPE results, it technically there'll be no difference really than what pertained before, because those places are, they're in very high demand. Yeah. We have a waiting line for those places from the year before, and those get filled up. So it's really just to be patient, and let's work through the process and see when CXC is able to give us those results, what can be done at that time. All right, thank you, Dr. Paul. Mr. Mackenzie, for persons who are applying to dorms or have applied, will the double room occupancy be available, or will there only be single room accommodations based on what might obtain because of COVID-19?
All right, thanks for that. At this point in time, the campus is only considering single room occupancy. In instances where we have siblings and they have indicated to us that they are fine with sharing a space, then consideration will be given to those. But at this point in time, we're only considering single room occupancy. If the situation changes, we'll be certain to advise our stakeholders as to our new position.
Mr. Mack, as it relates to, based on what you've said, will the fee be affected then if a person will now have to take up single room occupancy? Will they have to pay a higher fee, or will it be the double room occupancy fee?
No, so what we'll obtain is that room in effect will become a single room, and therefore the single room rate is what will be applicable to that room.
Okay, thank you. All right, a few questions here about the English language proficiency test and whether that will be held or not. It seems that it won't be held, and so they want to know what is it that will happen since that test is not going to be done. Is there...
Mr. Archie, you want to help us with that one?
Yeah, please, Mr. Archie.
That's kind of a difficult one. We will have to try to work around it as best as possible. What it will mean, though, is that the core course, the core English course that all students have to complete, these students during these times may have to wait until they can actually do the English language proficiency test to then move on to the foundation English course. But it's something that we'll have to examine to see how best we can accommodate these students.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Archie. Ms. Robinson, can you just reiterate what is the process for paying the commitment fee, and what is it that happens after this commitment fee has been paid?
All right, so the commitment fee can be paid at any one of the authorized payment outlets that I indicated earlier. These include NTB, JN, Western Union, there's a Bercy Cashier online, and there's Bill Express as well. Once it is that you pay the commitment fee, as I said, it's a deposit, a down payment to your account. It can be used to offset either your tuition, or your miscellaneous. So once you pay it, all you would need to do is to pay the difference of what your total fees would have been for the year. Example, your total fees for the year is $120. The commitment fee is $20. Once you pay the commitment fee of $20, all you would need to pay is $100. So once you pay it, you go ahead and do your registration, and the relevant charges will be then placed on your account, and you would then be required to pay the difference of that.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Robinson. I just want to say that coming out of our Marketing, Recruitment and Communications Department is information that the ELPT test will be done, and a determination about the date will be made on July 31. So students can just wait to be contacted regarding that, but the test will be done, and that date will be given to students very, very soon. Right. Okay, here we have a question about there's another question about courses being, what is the ratio? Is there going to be a ratio of courses being offered online to courses being offered face to face? Yes, is there going to be a ratio, or will all classes have an online component? So question, is there going to be a ratio of online classes to face-to-face classes, or will all classes have an online component?
Okay, I think this question was asked 2 times. This is the 3rd time in a different way. So let me just repeat. We are currently conducting summer school. Summer school should come to an end in a couple of weeks. Then after that, we transition into the start of the academic year. So we are working through the details about how many courses will be offered online, how many face-to-face. When that information is completed, it will be communicated in time so that students can register in time to begin their classes. So this information will definitely be communicated to students in the coming weeks as we work through this in preparation for the new academic year.
This question here for international students, Mr. Mackenzie, whose borders are closed and travel is difficult, when will they know when they should, when will they know how to do travel arrangements with our lodgings office, and especially since they will have to register with the Jamaican government for travel?
So I want to make 2 points here. One is that though we have indicated a period during which we'll be picking up students at the airport, if it is that by virtue of the borders being closed in a particular country, we will facilitate pickup outside of the regular period, right? It is important that the student makes contact with the lodgings office. A letter goes out to each new student indicating that contact information, and so we ask that the student contacts the office, indicates his or her travel date, whenever that becomes available, and we will ensure that we pick up the students safely, maintaining the protocols that have been set at a national level. I also want to repeat that we have been conducting a webinar series for our regional and international students, where we zone in on peculiar, well, questions, peculiar, or issues peculiar to this cohort of new students. We've had 2 so far, and we'll have 2 more. The next in the series is on July 29, followed by another on August 7. Importantly, we record the webinars, and so you may access them in your own time on the ISO website.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. All right, so students want to know and parents want to know a little bit about scholarships offered on campus, and if they will be able, if there is a place through which they will be able to apply for scholarships on campus.
Thank you for that question. We have the Office of Student Financing, which addresses matters of scholarships and bursaries on the campus. We invite you to contact them through this number, 876-702-4646, or at mona.uwi.esu/OSF for information. That's their website, right? You may email the office at this email address: stufinc@uwimona.edu.jm. Let me repeat that email contact: stufinc@uwimona.edu.jm.
Thank you very much. If a first-year student has decided to sit out the year, that is, defer the acceptance to the next academic year, 2021, 2022, does the commitment fee have to be paid? Do they still have to pay that fee? Ms. Robinson?
All right.
Or
so,
perhaps Jonathan as well can pitch in on that one.
They're asking if they decide to defer their studies to the next academic year, if they have to pay the commitment fee.
No, yes, if they still have to
No,
pay
it
the
wouldn't be
commitment fee.
required for this academic year. So you wouldn't be required to pay it until the next academic year.
So whenever the academic year is that they will
Right.
be engaged on campus, they will pay the commitment fee for
that
year.
specific year.
All right. I am seeing a number of times questions related to jobs on campus in light of what's happening with COVID-19 and the campus, going through a period of, I guess, what I'd call economic exigency. Will jobs be offered on campus for students to still be able to make some money as they study? One of our senior managers can take that.
Right, so I just asked the head of our placement and career services to share regarding the opportunities for student employment. Dr. Anne-Marie Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, as we are aware, we're in really unusual conditions. And so job opportunities are not as frequent as would have been in a normal setting. However, there are instances where our office is still engaged in facilitating external job opportunities as well as those on campus. Now, I can't say for sure the level of engagement for on-campus recruitment, as this will be based on the inflow of traffic in each department that would generally facilitate student employment. So I will not be able to say at this stage the number of jobs that will be available. However, the office will continue to work in collaboration with all units to engage student employment across the campus.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams is the Student Services and Development Manager for our Placement and Career Services unit here on campus. If we do the COVID test in our country, and I believe, Dr. AB, you could take this question. If we do the COVID test in our country and we test negative and also tested in Jamaica, where it is negative again, are we still required to do the quarantine on Hall?
When passengers come to the airport, they're assessed by the public health experts. But to that question, I'm sure they will need to do the 14-day quarantine.
Okay, thank you, Dr. AB. So there's a question for what is it that happens for people who are studying at the WJC? When do they bring in their supporting documents? When does all this need to be submitted, and where should it be submitted? Is it submitted to the Mona admissions, Kingston admissions, or do they have to take these documents to the Western Jamaica campus?
I'll direct the question to Dr. Patrick Prendergast as also Mr. Jonathan Archie. They can help us to shed some light on this particular question. Director Prendergast.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Just a little bit low.
Is that better now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Since the answer to that question, all the documents are submitted the regular admission processes. However, students who are engaged in the western part of the country can in fact submit their documents to us at the campus, and that is not limited to students who are studying at the WJC. Any Mona student can in fact submit their document there, and it goes through the regular system.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prendergast. Another question regarding the commitment fees. For provisional students or students who have received provisional acceptance, they would like to know if they still have to pay the commitment fee.
The best answer to that is to wait until you get full acceptance from the university before paying the commitment fee. Because remember, it's a non-refundable fee, so we wouldn't want it to be a case where, I don't know, for some reason acceptance isn't given, and then you wouldn't be able to get back the commitment fee.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Robinson, my apologies. Will there be any limitations for students living in dorms, Mr. Mackenzie, for traveling on and off campus? For students living in our halls of residence, will they have any limitations to move around Kingston, out of town, on and off campus?
Right, so we will facilitate students moving around the community. It is going to be very, very important, though, that the protocols that we establish for living in a hall of residence at this point in time are observed. We expect that students within the space will be responsible because our maintaining a safe community will depend on all stakeholders in this community, staff, students alike. And therefore, there will be guidelines specific to a hall of residence. The campus will establish, promulgate, share broad guidelines around how you operate within this campus community. But there will be guidelines and protocols and procedures peculiar and specific to a hall of residence. We will expect that the students living in the space will adhere to same, because there's, and in fact, I'll go further by saying you cannot continue to live and be a part of the community if it is that you're not adhering to the rules of the community. We can say to you, we will not be facilitating external visitors within the space because we have to, do our best to maintain a safe space. But certainly our students have to engage in different space for different reasons. They have to go to the supermarket, so forth and so on. So yes, movements will be allowed. But there are key issues around sanitation and sanitization that will be enforced. For example, the wearing of masks in public spaces, that's something that we will have as a part of our protocol in the Hall of Residence, and our students must adhere to same.
All right, thanks, Mr. Mack. And while on the issue of COVID and moving around, some of our regional students do want to know how the quarantine will work if they are not allowed to come into residence until the 30th, but they have to serve out the 14-day quarantine period and may have to go to face-to-face classes on the 7th of September.
Right, so the campus continues to work through that, but once you're in quarantine, then you have to remain in quarantine. Bear in mind that even though we'll do face-to-face interaction, we'll also make courses available through online containers. So what we are very, very clear on, if it is that you have to be in quarantine for a particular period of time, then you can access the services of the campus online, but you have to remain in quarantine. There's no getting around that, because we must do everything in our powers to ensure that we maintain a safe space here on the campus.
All right. And for students who are wondering how it is that they will move in to hall properly without having a family member or anybody else access the hall space, what advice can we give to them? They want to know how they are to move into all their things by themselves if their parents or whomever travels with them can't access the hall of residence because of the strict protocol we have in place.
Right. So, I mean, we'll ask for the student to relate directly to their student services and development manager, on these matters. But what we are clear on is that there is assistance through so there are trolleys and equipment available for persons to move their things to their rooms. But what we are not prepared to do is to allow any external member of the community to access the residential space. So at the local level, there are ways and means by which they will get their belongings to their particular room. But unfortunately, we are not able to allow anybody external to the space to access the residential space.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Mackenzie. Ms. Robinson, is there a deadline for can you repeat the deadlines for our listeners for the commitment fee and for the application for the installment plan? Can you please repeat those deadlines?
All right, so the deadline, the information I gave earlier was in regards to 2019-2020. The commitment fee would have been required. The deadline for that would have been July 31st. But I believe when it is that they get their acceptance, their information is sent out in their email to tell them when that deadline will be. I think so, I'm not sure. But for last year, it would have been July 31st. I'm not sure what it was for what it is for this year. As it relates to the installment plan, no deadline has been determined as yet, but once that is the case, it will be sent out via email by the Office of Campus Registrar.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. So I'm going to hand over to Mr. Mackenzie now. I'm looking at a number of the questions in the chat, and most of them have already been addressed. It seems that some persons are just tuning in. So we will remind you that the recording will be available, so you can return to it at a later date and possibly get some of the access some of the responses to these questions that you have. But for now, I will return to the program over to Mr. Mackenzie, who will wrap up at this time.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson. Thank you so kindly, Mrs. Robinson, for leading us through the question and answer segment. I would like to thank our parents and other family members for being with us today. We really value your time. We value your partnership. We look forward to working with you as we seek to help your child or ward successfully navigate the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. I'd like to thank all our our presenters and persons who are present with us physically in this space, as also all those persons who, or team members who are online by Zoom, who dedicated a part of their Sunday afternoon to be with us just to help to answer the questions that our parents or family members may have. We truly thank you for sharing this time with us. We look forward to working with you as we go forward. I want to remind us of some dates. We will have orientation for our regional or new regional and international students on August 27 in a town hall format, virtual town hall. We'll continue with general orientation for all new undergraduate students on August 28th. We will have orientation for all new graduate students on September 3. The week of August 31 through to September 4 will be faculty orientation. A reminder as well to our regional international students that our webinar series continue, and we will have the next in the series on July 29, followed by August 7. We are truly happy that you are able to share with us this afternoon. We look forward to welcoming your child or ward to our campus and helping them achieve their objectives. Thank you all for a wonderful afternoon. We look forward to serving you as we continue to inspire excellence and produce leaders. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.